Hello everyone. Sorry for giving this late, no. So I hope you can still use this in preparation for the long quiz tomorrow. So I will be giving more examples regarding how to graph a circular function. So let's have our first example in here. We are asked to graph y is equal to 3 sine of 2x. So to be able to graph this, first step, the first thing that you need to do is to figure out what is the amplitude and the period. So the amplitude again is formula is the absolute value of A, and for period that's 2 pi over B. So what you need right now is A and B. So looking at our given, this is y is equal to 3 sine 2x. So this is in the form y is equal to a sine of bx. So that means a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 2. So you can now find the amplitude. Amplitude is absolute value of a. Therefore, that's a 3. And your period, which is 2 pi over b. So that's 2 pi over 2, which is just a pi. So we can now proceed to our step 2. Our step 2 is to divide the period pi into 4 equal parts. In other words, that's pi divided by 4. And you proceed to step 3. You make a table starting at x is equal to 0 to the period x is equal to pi in steps of pi over 4. So it would be like this. So this is something that I've already presented last time. So this is x, this is y. Start from 0 and then pi over 4. Then afterwards pi over 2 and then 3 pi over 4 until such time na pi na yung x natin. So gamit lang kayo ng calculator, just substitute what is x to our function. Make sure that it's in a rad. So shift mode, then number 4 radian. So let's start from 3 3 times sine of 0 times x is just 0. So that's a 0. Then you have pi over 4. Same thing, but replace x with pi over 4. So fraction bar, shift, then itong pi over 4. So that will result to a 3. So do the same thing again, but replace x with pi over 2. You will get 0. So I think nakikita nyo na yung pattern. But sige lang, gamit pa rin tayo ng calculator. So that's a 4 in the denominator. So magiging negative 3. And then, kapag pi na lang yung natira, so shift times 10 to the power of x. So you'll have pi in the calculator and you'll get 0. And then now you can proceed to step 4. Step 4 now um, is to draw the xy plane or the coordinate plane or Cartesian plane and label the points in the table. So, zoom out lang natin yung board natin. So actually, gagawin na natin dito yung step 4, 5, and 6 in one para hindi na natin siya ulit-ulitin. But let's start with step 4. Ayan. Okay, ruler muna. So, patient lang tayo kasi yung ruler needed pa i-rotate. And then, ito. Okay, rotate natin ulit yung ruler. And then, dito, horizontal. And then, this is the time that you will label. So, start tayo dito. Pi over 4. And then, next would be pi over 2. Next would be 3 pi over 4. And then, next would be pi. Okay. So, now, let's try to plot the ordered pairs that we got from our step 3. Starting with 0, 0. Okay, 0, 0. By the way, don't forget the label on top pala. That's 1, 2, then finally 3. So next would be pi over 4, 3. Next would be pi over 2, 0. And then for 3 pi over 4. Okay, let's label. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So 3 pi over 4 and negative 3. So here. And then pi and 0. And then you just, for step 5, just connect the points with a sinusoidal curve. It has to be a smooth U curve. Then you just have to continue the pattern. So, magiging ganito. Okay, ayan. Okay. So, this is now one period of our graph. So, for step 6, since we're not given with an interval, so we just have to repeat over several periods to the left and the right. So, perhaps gawa tayo ng um, same labels dito sa ating x-axis to the other side. Negative version lang. So, negative pi over 4. Then, negative pi over 2. And then, negative 3 pi over 4. And finally, we have here a negative pi. So, you just have to follow the same pattern. 0, 0, then next naman, negative 3. Sunod naman, 0 ulit. Sunod naman, 3. And then 0 ulit. And then smooth curve. Oops, parang mali dito na part. Then, lagyan natin ng arrowhead as an indicator that it will never stop. So, the same pattern will be repeated all over again. So, that's the graph of y is equal to 3 sine of 2x. Okay, yung kasunod naman natin, next item tayo. Example number 2, we are asked to graph y is equal to negative 2 times the cosine of 1/3 x. Okay, so scroll down lang tayo dito. So let's start from step 1. So step 1 is to find the amplitude and period. So hanapin muna natin yung A at saka B natin. So our given equation is y is equal to -2 times the cosine of 1/3 x. And our form is y is equal to A gamit lang tayo ng color para mas madali nating mahanap kung saan yung A at saka B. Then cosine 1/3, then red for x. Sorry, ito pala. bx. B, then x. So, ayan. I think obvious naman kung ano yung A. A is -2, and then B now is 1/3. So, if you have your A and B, you can already figure out the amplitude and the period. Amplitude is just the absolute value of A. So, absolute of -2 is a 2, while the period is 2 pi over B, where B is 1/3. So, we change division to multiplication, and then reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. So, that means it's 6 pi. So, we proceed now to step 2. We divide the period 6 pi into 4 equal parts. That's what we need to do all the time. Divide it into 4 equal parts. So yung 6 pi natin, we just have to divide it with 4 and simplify. So yung 6 over 4 natin, we can simplify that one as 3 pi over 2. Then we proceed now to step 3. Step 3 is to make a table starting at x is equal to 0 and complete one period of 6 pi in steps of 3 pi over 2. So, yung basis natin is itong 3 pi over 2, and then mag-end up tayo doon sa ating 6 pi. So, gawa tayo ng table of values. Yung x natin is 0. Yung una natin na isusulat dito is yung 3 pi over 2. And then afterwards, we have 3 pi. And then next would be 9 pi over 2. And then finally, 6 pi. So, yan. So, just use a calculator. I will not be showing it anymore. I guess you know how to do it already. So, I've already presented it a couple of times in the class. So, if you will use correctly your calculator, what you will get for y, if x is 0, that's a -2. If x is 3 pi over 2, that's a 0. If x is 3 pi, that's a 2. I think you can see the pattern already. So 9 pi over 2 would be 0. And finally, 6 pi is -2. So let's try to do already 4th step, 5th, and 6th in one. So yung 4th step natin, of course, we need a Cartesian plane. So that's what we need to follow. So wait, ito na namang yung ruler natin. Gawa tayo ng Cartesian plane. And then we just plot the ordered pairs that we got from step 3. So starting with, wag pala natin kalimutan yung mga labels natin. So we almost forgot that. So we'll start with 3 pi over 2, followed by 3 pi, followed by 9 pi over 2, and then we have 6 pi. And then yung mga nakuha nating y is just a 2. So siguro until 2 lang tayo. 2 at saka -2. Ayan. Then magpa-plot na tayo, starting from 0. If x is 0, so that means it's negative 2. So dito. And then, if x is 3 pi over 2, so simply 0. 3 pi, if x is 3 pi, that's a 2. X is 9 pi over 2 is 0. Then 6 pi, then y is negative 2. So just connect the points. That's the fifth step. Teka lang, let's make a smooth one. Ayan. Gawin ko na lang ulit kasi parang pangit ng graph. Okay, ayan. Mas gawin natin smooth. Okay, there you go. Then, sixth step, finally, we just repeat over several periods because we're not given with a certain interval. So, um, we will just make a mirror of what we have right now to the other side. So, 3 pi over 2, and then negative 3 pi, negative 9 pi over 2, and then negative 6 pi. So, follow lang natin yung pattern, no? 0, and then sunod naman 2 ulit, sunod naman 0 ulit, and then negative 2. Connect lang natin, and then don't forget the arrowhead. Okay, let's proceed to example 3 now. In our example 3, this was quite different from what we're doing in class. We're now given with the graph and we're asked to find the equation. So, first of all, you just have to observe. Of course, yung ganitong drawing is either cosine lang naman or sine. Kasi iba naman yung tangent, cotangent, cosecant at secant natin kasi merong mga asymptotes. Kumbaga, merong mga vertical na broken lines. So, either sa dalawa. So, looking at it, wala siyang 0, 0. So, ibig sabihin, our example 3 here, this graph represents a cosine function. Kasi walang 0, 0 eh. Yung 0 natin is a 4. So, yung expected na equation natin or function would be y is equal to a times the cosine of bx. Sa nakikita ninyo, yung amplitude natin, okay, yung amplitude, it's actually the half of the maximum spread. So, it's a 4. Right? So, ito. So, absolute value of A is just 4. So, yung A natin, ibig sabihin nun, it's either negative 4 or 4 siya. Pero 4 siya kasi yung basic graph natin lang siya. Yun ito. And then, yung kasunod naman, yung period. Yung period natin, formula is 2 pi over b. And, sa nakikita ninyo, yung parang isang period is nandito from 0 until 4 pi. And the rest, inuulit-ulit na lang. So, in other words, period is 4 pi. And hanapin na lang natin si b by isolating it. So, siguro multiply both sides by b. If you multiply both sides by b, you will get b times 4 pi is equal to 2 pi. Kasi makakancel out na yung b. Then, we divide both sides by 4 pi. And then, b is equal to 2/4 is 1/2. So, pi over sorry, makakancel out pala yung pi natin. So 2/4 is just 1/2. So that's our B. So we already have our A and B. We just have to substitute A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 1/2 into y is equal to A times the cosine of bx. So that's y is equal to 4 cosine of 1/2 x. And this is our final answer. Let's proceed now to example 4. So we're now asked to graph y is equal to 2 times the secant of pi x on the interval from -2 to 2. So scroll up lang tayo konti. Okay, let's have number 4. Let's begin by doing the first step that we have to do in here. And that is to graph the corresponding guide function with a dashed curve. So yung guide natin, pag binigay sa atin secant, ibig sabihin nun, iisipin natin yung cosine. So yung cosine version ng given natin is just y is equal to 2 cosine of pi x. So, yung gagamitin lang natin siya for guide purpose. Okay? So, kapag yung binigay naman ko secant, sine naman yung iisipin ninyo. So, 2 cosine of pi x, palang pinalitan na natin yung secant into cos. Okay? And then, you just have to graph that. That's the basic. So, okay, ito na naman tayo. Gagawa na naman tayo ng Cartesian plane. Okay, and then horizontal. Okay. And then notice that the A here is a 2. So, ibig sabihin yan, 2 yung dapat max na coordinate natin. So, it should start from here. Kasi cosine nito, okay? Pag cosine, dito tayo magsa-start. Walang 0, 0. So, 0, 2, kasi positive. So, usual na graph lang. Then, punta tayo dito. Gawa tayo ng 1. Then 2. -1, -2. So, 2, then sunod naman, -2, sunod naman, 2. Here, -2, then 2. Then, again, just make a broken smooth curve. Kasi guide lang natin siya. Hindi pa talaga ito yung graph ng ating yung secant natin. And then afterwards, we just have to draw the asymptotes. So, paano natin madadraw yung asymptotes natin? So, yung asymptotes natin would be the x-intercepts. So, gawa tayo ulit ng broken line doon sa ating mga x-intercepts. So, that would be here. Again na yung x-intercept, yung line na mag-i-intersect sa ating x-axis. That's our asymptotes. Okay, ito din. Ito din. And finally, ito. Ay, masyadong malayo. Okay. And then, use the U shape between the asymptotes. Okay. If the guide function is positive, the U opens upward. And if the function is negative, the U opens downward. So, pag positive, okay, na yung sinabi, pag positive, upward, then pag nasa negative, downward. So, ito yung mga values natin, no, na i-consider. So, ito, so meaning, parang U curve pataas. Then, ito naman, U curve pababa. Kasi negative siya. Ito, U curve pa rin na pababa. Then, ito, pataas. Then, ito din, pataas. Pero yung sinabi kasi sa atin is only from negative 2 to 2. So, dapat puputulin natin siya until 2 lang, negative 2. So, dapat putol ito. Okay, so until dito lang. Okay, so I think that this would be our second to the last example. Okay, let's have example 5. So, for example 5, we are now asked to graph y is equal to negative 3 times the cosecant of 2 pi x on the interval from negative 1 to 1. So let's start with step 1. Step 1 is to graph the corresponding guide function with a dashed curve or broken line. Broken curve, I mean. So, yung binigay kasi sa atin is y is equal to negative 3 cosecant of 2 pi x. So that means y is equal to negative 3 sine of 2 pi x. Yung guide sa ating graph. Graph natin siya. So, gawa tayo ulit ng Cartesian plane. Okay, and then turn lang natin yung ruler natin. And then, yung usual na graph natin is dapat yung sign, dapat nagsistart siya sa 0, 0. So, dito. Pero yung tanong is whether ganito ba or ganito. So, saan tayo magsisimula? Sa 0. So, from 0, 0, pupunta tayo sa baba ng ating x-axis or pupunta tayo sa itaas ng x-axis. So, either of the two. That's our dilemma now. So, here or here. So, yung tamang sagot is ito. Papunta tayo sa baba. So, bakit papunta tayo sa baba this time? Remember, our A is negative. So, ibig sabihin nun, okay, wrong button. Ito. So, ibig sabihin the opposite. Okay, parang i-reflect lang natin siya papunta sa baba ng ating x-axis. So, smooth curve lang tayo. And don't forget, yung max natin is -3 or yung minimum natin. So, label muna tayo. 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. 1, 2, 3. Then, don't forget 1, then 2. Mirror lang tayo. -2. So, start tayo from 0, 0. And since negative yung ating A, so papunta tayo sa baba instead na papunta tayo sa itaas. So, from here, um, yung 1/2 natin, dito, that's the -3. Then, okay, wait lang. Ay, hindi pala. Dapat pala ito, 1/2. 1/2, and then ito 1. Then, di ba, kung natatandaan ninyo, dapat i-divide natin siya into 4 equal parts. So, ibig sabihin, ito ay 1/4, sunod ay 1/2, then sunod ay 3/4. So, dito tayo first, -3. Sunod naman, 0. Sunod would be +3. And then finally for 1, 0. Then connect them, but it has to be broken, so don't forget about that. So pag ima-manual graph talaga siya, no, it will really take time. Ayan. Then yung mga nag-intersect sa ating y-axis, those are our asymptotes. That's our second step. So, gawa lang tayo ng vertical broken line. Okay, kasali ito. Yung y-axis itself. So, ito, pupunta siya sa 3. Sunod naman, 0. Wait, hindi pa pala natin nakumpleto. So, meron pa palang -1/2, -3/4. So, 3, 0, then -3, then 0. So, don't forget, broken line. Then, until -2, until, sumobra na pala tayo. Dapat until 1 lang tayo. Pero, supposedly, ito ay, okay, ito. Dito, -2. It has to be -1. Then, ito, -1/2. Ito yung 1/4 natin, -1/4. Okay? So, that's the graph now. Don't forget yung mga intersection natin. Gawa tayo ng vertical lines with that. And then, itong mga points na to, if it's positive, then go up. Sorry if nag-overlap ha, hindi ko na siya uulitin. Then ito, papunta din sa itaas. Ito naman, pababa. Ito, pababa. Okay, meron pa pala tayong last example, example 6. So we're asked to graph y is equal to 1 minus the cosecant of 2x minus pi on the interval from negative pi to pi. So we're asked also as well to state the domain and the range on the interval. So, okay, so now the given is, okay, is this one. I'll just have to write it. 1 minus cosecant of 2x minus pi. So we just have to draw the guide function. So, hindi natin muna pakakialaman yung ating d. Alam natin ito yung d, yung walang cosine. So, nasa other term siya and constant lang. So, yung hanapin muna natin is yung y is equal to negative sine of 2x minus pi. So, ito muna. So, graph natin. Then, ikot muna tayo. Then, gawa na tayo ng Cartesian plane. So, ayan. So, yun pa rin. We follow the same thing. We start from 0, 0. Then, yung yung a kasi natin is negative 1. So, meaning yung opposite na naman. From 0, 0. Okay. At pwede din naman gumawala na lang tayo ng ordered pair. So, if x is 0, ganon. And so on. So, yung guide natin would be like this. Okay, ayan. So, ito, pi over 2. Tsaka ito, pi. So, ito, pi over 4 siya. Ito would be 3 pi over 4. 0, 0. Then, pi over 4, 1. Pi over 2, 0. 3 pi over 4 is negative 2. Then, continue the pattern lang. So, huwag kayong matakot gawin yan. So, pi over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative pi over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative pi over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 pi over 4. And then finally, we have negative pi. Okay, now, continue lang natin yung pattern. 0, 0, 2. Negative 1, then sunod naman 0. Sunod naman 1. Sunod naman yung negative pi. So, don't forget, guide lang natin siya, so dapat broken line lang. And then yung mga intersection sa ating x-axis, those are the asymptotes. So rotate na naman tayo ng ruler. 52, 66, 79, 90. So ayan. Sunod. Okay, sunod. And then, ito na naman. So, kailangan pa natin siya tapusin kasi hindi pa naman siya tapos. Follow lang natin yung pattern. So, 3 pi over 4 would be negative 2. Then, finally, pi. Then, kung positive, pataas. Kung negative, pababa. Okay. Any question or clarification? So if you have, just don't hesitate to message me in MS Teams. Okay, that's it, everyone. God bless.